fear the present, hard to be present, hard not to bend under a cynic stare, but keep the volume of things unsaid, the regrets of silence as thin as they can be. Let them take up little space on the shelf in your head. Don't be ashamed of your joy. Don't leave your love for so long that it turns to dust. Make sure that you radiate and make sure that you celebrate. But of course, all of this I said in my head as you walk by. But not anymore. Not anymore. I love the bones of you. Thank you. One more thing before I bring Lou on. I want to tell you a little story about, I have a lot of friends who are librarians, a lot of friends who run independent bookshops, and this year there's never been so much kind of bullshit that they've been getting for having Pride windows and stuff like that, and which I worry about a great deal. I see this kind of regression, and so I wanted to show you this book. Some of you might be old enough to remember this book, some of you won't be, and this is a book that I bought in the Oxfam glass cabinet, the special place that you don't look at the glass cabinet, don't look in the glass cabinet. I've looked, it's too late, could you bring the keys, right? And this is Jenny Lives with Eric and Martin, right? I don't know if any of you know about this book. This was the book that was used to push Section 28 by the Conservative government in the 1980s, right? It is, because Section 28, if you don't know, that was to prevent the promotion of homosexuality in schools, which basically meant mentioning homosexuality in schools, because as anyone here will know, if you say something to a child, they immediately become it, which is why teaching is so easy. There was a horrible story. What was it? There was a story, I think it was a secondary school in Hendon. It was at the end of last year, the beginning of this year. There was a history teacher, and she taught her whole class about the English Civil War, and the next week, they'd all become Roundheads, and she was beheaded. So I wanted to show you this book because I think when we see this hate that gets peddled all the time in these culture wars, we have to remember how ridiculous they are, and we have to be ready to fight against those things and fight with love. And Jenny Lives with Eric and Martin, right? This was described as pornography. If anyone bought it believing it was porn, they would have been very disappointed, right? The sexiest thing in it is a man putting out some clothes to dry with a clothes peg in his mouth. Is it sadomasochistic drying? We don't know, right? But this is the thing that I love at the end. At the end here is a cartoon with the intentions of the book, and I'm just going to read this to you. And this is called Here Are Bill and Fred. I love you, Fred. I love you too, Bill. Why don't we move in together? That is a good idea. Uh-oh, here comes grumpy Mrs. Jones. Oh no, what's this? Two men cannot live together. It is very wrong. But we really love each other. Why is it wrong? It just is! Anyway, my husband would never kiss another man. Which I think is an odd piece of anecdotal evidence to use in this particular, almost as if it's setting us up for a terrible, terrible twist. Well, indeed it is, my friends, because here comes Mr. Jones, and he's been keeping his cards rather close to his chest of late. Now, that's not quite right, dear. When I was young, I was in love with a man, and we lived together. But then I met you, and it was you I loved most, and you loved me most, so we moved in together and got married. But goodness, why didn't you ever tell me that? Well, we know, because she's very rash in her judgment. I always thought it was wrong when two men love each other. There are so many things that people think are wrong. It can never be wrong to live with someone you are fond of. I suppose that's right. I never thought of it that way. I'm sorry, you must forgive me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a true thing. We need to, yes, fight with love. And this, oh man, the joy of Lou Sanders' career has just, like, since I first met her and I first saw her, and she was such a wonderful idiosyncratic voice, and now she has a book out and she's incredibly successful and deserves every part of that. Please welcome to the stage, Lou Sanders!